Hey y'all, welcome to the Jezebel Way Tarot. Tonight we're going to be doing a Divine Masculine Collective check-in read. I wanted to say thank you all for all of your comments, your subscriptions, and your likes. I appreciate y'all. So let's see what we got going on with the Divine Masculine while we are in Venus retrograde. And let's see what this looks like. Okay, somebody's trying to overcome themselves. Okay. All right, so what I've got so far, it looks like that the masculine is at a crossroads, right? Which is not uncommon on this kind of journey. They are trying to get back to their authentic self. I think that they've taken a lot of turns here, running away from connections, running away from themselves, running away from facing things. And now they've come to the conclusion that they need to take a new direction. It looks like they are taking the mask off and they are trying to get back to a time in which they were their authentic self. So they're doing some healing. They're doing some healing. So let's see what else is going on. Candle wax happening. We know when we're at a crossroads, you know, there's been some growth and there's going to be a lot more growth. And it takes healing and it takes maturity and it takes looking at something in its raw form, looking in the mirror, so to speak, to be able to understand that, you know, it's time to get back to a true authentic self. When you're refusing to see something, you're not going to be in that state of mind. Yeah, making decisions. They're tired of the lack. I think they're tired of trying to be somebody who they're not. And that's what's keeping them awake at night or keeping conflict in their life. They're now looking for stability. They want transparency. They want to come into this emperor position here. I love it when they show up because that means we're on the right track. They're wanting to come into this more mature role as leader, provider, protector, a more mature and less self-destructive role. I think that they're also coming into a period of time in which instead of tearing down, they want to build. So transparency with themselves. We've got stability coming in. It looks like their finances are in a much better position than that maybe they have been in the past. And they've decided to turn out things that are not aligning with where they are right now. And that could be why they're at a crossroads, because sometimes when we decide to level up, right, or we're moving down the road, moving on, not everybody comes with us. Also, we're no longer attracted to things that are not in alignment with us. And so things start to drop off. People start to drop off. Friends start to drop off because we are living in a new truth. So it looks like confusion is going to be putting down with the masculine. They are stepping into a role which benefits the feminine. Confusion's being laid aside. All the juggling, these two different faces of the masculine are being put to the side. They're done. They're ready to come out with their true authentic self and moving forward. So, see what we got for masculine energy. Show me the masculine energy. You know, Spirit kept telling me tonight, do a collective read, do a collective read. And I was like, you know, I really don't want to tonight, blah, 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 Christmas, you know. But there's something over the last few days, the last week, that's being presented to me about becoming your authentic self, sloughing away all of those things that you present to the world, just being who you truly are and being comfortable with that person. And masculines are kind of all over the board. Some contracts are ending. There are some who are going deeper into their fantastical world, but others are coming forth here with their true authentic selves. Damn the consequences, damn the validation, learning how to place their validation in themselves and their skills and their own efforts. So masculine has victory card. They're moving forward in victory. They've overcome some confusion with the stability in their life, and I think that has a lot to do with monetary stability. Also stability coming from the fact that you just drop it. You're not dealing with all of these spinning plates anymore. Boom, you just let them crash and see what's still standing. And I think that's where the masculine is, struggling with confusion about stability, about commitment, about leadership. They're overcoming those issues and they're moving forward. And we have the Two of Cups here. We have the divine masculine and the divine feminine coming together in union, coming together in this knowing, in this comfort. And it's not about this mad love story, right? It's not about that. It's about being at home with somebody, comfort level with someone, knowing someone. And that's where the masculine is wanting to get back to, getting back to this comfort. A warm fire, comfort, home. And they know that they can only truly have that feeling with one person, and that's the feminine. So they are in deep thought about the feminine, how to get back to a time in the relationship with the feminine that was more simple, that was authentic, that was raw connection. And so they know that in order to do that, they have to be their authentic self. They have to come to terms with who they are and step into that role. So let's see what's going on with the feminine. Yeah, the feminine is just kind of decided that she's going to be in her spirituality. The High Priestess is here. She's looking for the truths, the mystery. Feminine's in the 5D and above. She is not worried about the sex. She's not worried about the love, romantic parts of it. She's in her spiritual, doing her spiritual work. She's in her spirituality. She is letting things unfold to her. She's allowing the universe to bring things to her. She's not forcing anything. She's not pushing anything. And she's also not trying to redirect attention back to herself and the connection. So she is in her zone. She doesn't anticipate hearing from the masculine. She doesn't feel like that this is moving forward with any balance because she knows that for so very long, the masculine has been out of balance with who they truly are. And that vulnerability, being able to be laid wide open again with the feminine as it was in the beginning without the walls of fear. Walls of fear are validation issues. So the feminine is in her meditative phase. She is doing her practice and she's just letting the universe unfold things to her. She's not forcing. Let's see what blocks we have with the masculine. Wish fulfillment, making the apology, laying down the defenses. All of these are walls to authenticity. And so the masculine these are all in the reverse. So when I say the masculine is taking that mask off and they are trying to be in their true authentic self, and they know that they have to step into that role because there's been growth. That's exactly what these cards are saying. They're not seeking external happiness or external wish fulfillment, self-gratification, instant gratification. They are stepping into a role of maturity, and they're no longer defensive with that wall, hiding their vulnerability, their true, authentic self. So let's see what the masculine is feeling about the feminine. Spirituality, they can feel the feminine in their spirituality. When you are on a twin flame journey for any amount of time, you start noticing that you can feel things from your twin, right? That emotional transference. You can feel when they're happy. You can feel when they're on track with their spirituality. You can feel when they're in a good place. You can also feel when they're anxiety ridden and they're obsessing because they're longing and they're not turning the focus inward. There's been a transformation for this masculine energy here and a step toward the spiritual aspect of this relationship. Like I said, they are becoming their true authentic self. They are taking this mask off, and there's been growth, there's been healing, there's been maturity. The transformation is here, and they're stepping into a more spiritual role with their journey. They are leaving karmics behind. They are leaving things behind. Earlier I talked about you can't always take everybody with you. That's what they're doing here. They're leaving all the broken, empty promises and all the validation issues and all the different versions of themselves behind and walking toward their truth, their North Star, right? Their true authentic self. They're following their intuition. They are laying down confusion. They are laying down external validation and expecting the feminine to solve external problems for them. They are walking to their true authentic self. So for a lot of masculines, there's been an upgrade. There's been an awakening of sorts. They are taking control of their situation by bringing this to an internal peace. I love it. And they're happier for it. They're in a much happier place. So that didn't have anything to do with the question I asked for, but that's what we have about what's going on with masculine. So let's see how masculine's feeling about feminine. Celebration, healing, holding on to the feminine, stepping into that role of commitment, of husband. Now, this may just be spiritual husband, right? But they're stepping into that role and taking some responsibility and understand that it's time to level up. It's time to mature. It's time to get your shit together. It's time to step in the role that you were intended to be as a masculine. And they are certainly doing that. And the only catalyst for this has been the feminine. The feminine triggering the masculine to step into a role and not accepting less from the masculine than what they're capable of, right? Not accepting bullshit from the masculine behaviors, making them go through their journey by not responding and setting boundaries, right? And again, when you're setting boundaries, it's not just always for the other person, it's about you and about your self-worth, and it's about setting boundaries because you don't like yourself when you don't. And so a girlfriend of mine and I were having a conversation earlier today, where we were talking about self-worth and how many of the feminines are experiencing these times in which they are just simply saying, this is about how I feel. This is about my self-worth. This is about respect for myself. And here's where I land on it. And, so be it. What happens with it, right? Now, I think a lot of feminines, that's why they're starting to focus on themselves and their spirituality and take the focus off of the 3D relationship, which on this journey, that's one of the best things that you can do, is to take the focus off of the fact that everybody wants to romanticize the twin flame journey. And when it's not romantic to them anymore, they're done with it. And they've forgotten the huge purpose that is behind being a twin flame, a volunteer. And so when you heal and you focus on yourself and you move forward with what it is that you need to do for you, as follows the masculine. So masculine is stepping into that framework, celebrating the connection, celebrating healing. And this is a yes card, and this is commitment, celebrating the fact that, oh, now I understand what I'm supposed to do. Now I'm in more understanding about what my role is here. So a lot of masculines are accepting and surrendering to the journey. Let's see what the masculine is thinking. They want balance. They want to put down conflict. They want to put down defenses. So vulnerability, okay, being vulnerable to the feminine is now what the masculine is experiencing. They realize that holding on to that vulnerability, right, and not showing that vulnerability, putting those walls up when they get triggered is what keeps separation happening. They want to get back to a place in the beginning when, you know, they were unashamed to be vulnerable to their feminine. They were unashamed of themselves to be vulnerable to another person. That's what they're talking about here. They want that back. No more games. No more games, no more lies, no more hurdles, no more walls, no more karmics, no more whatever. Now they're thinking, how do we repair? How do we build? How do we heal? How do we move forward? How do we overcome? I'm done being sad about this. A lot of times when you're on a twin flame journey, you have, you know, you're with your twin flame or whatever, or you're not. You know, 95% of people out there are probably not in union with their twin flame. That's just the way it works. I mean, some people get lucky, you know, and they are. But not everybody's journey is predetermined that way, right? So sometimes, you know, you will feel, especially when your romantic interests are focused on someone else, you'll feel that pull from your twin. And you can be in the most fairy tale situation and still be thinking about your twin. It's just the way it works to take the focus, put it back on the journey. They don't want to be without you anymore. Being without you and being in tune with you spiritually and coming back to a place of authenticity and coming back to a place of vulnerability is where they want to be. They're tired of missing out on that. They're tired of fighting that battle all the time to keep the other twin at bay. So you're going to see a lot of changes, a lot more authenticity. You may see very subtle ways of them letting people know that they are growing, they're awakening, they're strengthening. They're also going to be stepping into that leadership role. They're going to be stepping into that masculine energy that builds and not destroys. So you're going to be seeing a lot of changes in your masculine. And you're also going to be feeling a lot lighter, I think, during this time, because the focus is not on, you know, let's get together. The focus is on, what am I fucking up? How do I fix it? What do I do? And so, you know, that conversation that I had earlier with my friend, you know, that was really, really the universe's way of saying, hey, you know, this is what's happening with the masculine collective, and you need to let everybody know. So here I am. Let's see kind of what the masculine is going to do toward the feminine. Okay, they are going to do everything they can to make it work. Now we have the King and Queen of Coins and the Magician. This is about masculine and feminine balance. This is about balance in your life. This is about doing what it takes to make it work. This is about understanding that it takes work and risk sometimes Excuse me, that wasn't supposed to be there. But since it's here, let's look at it. It is the Knight of Swords, communication incoming, possibly. I think that this is about starting from scratch. This is about starting from the beginning when this connection was very new. And this is taking this back to a reset point in which you're not afraid of each other and you're not damaged by each other and you're not hurt by each other. And it's not about the constant triggering and lessons. This may come back to the rawness of the connection. And I think it's, hey, how do we start over again? How do we start over again? So let's see. So they're going to be having a conversation with the feminine, so to speak, about how do we fix it? What work do we put into it? So they've had an enlightenment. Let's see what they feel like the feminine's going to do. What actions the feminine's going to take. What does the masculine expect the feminine to do? It's a brand new world, baby. That's what they're saying. They're expecting you to open arm with them, right? They want you to accept them. They want you to recognize that they have leveled up. They want you to see the work that they've put into situation and the strength that it's going to take. They know that you have the strength, feminine, to put the work in and to close out cycles and join new cycles. They know you have that. They've known that about you since the beginning. They expect that you've been thinking on the past just as they have and how to fix that and how to, but we know the feminine has been focusing on her spirituality. She's been focusing on herself. She's not going to allow herself to dwell on this situation anymore because dwelling on it, chasing it, makes it get further away. So he's expecting the feminine to understand what's happened here. He wants the feminine, masculine he, I say he, it could be she, whoever, however you guys land on that. Masculine energy wants the feminine, is hoping that the feminine, or is being nostalgic and sentimental about the commitment, about the connection, rather. Because masculine is thinking about the good old days, right? When the connection was brand new and how that felt and how glorious that was and how it changed them before they knew or went through the journey, okay, of a masculine. Before they get through all the triggers and the shadow work and dark nights of the soul and having to get rid of templating and all of the things, that come with it. They want to take it back to the time in which it was just a pure connection between two people. When it felt more like soulmate connection, right? Instead of full-on twin flame trauma, right? They're hoping that the feminine will accept their coin, will accept their offer, and of course, eventually lead back to lovers, right? They're hoping to avoid burdens with a broken heart, so they expect the feminine to welcome them back. And I think the feminine will welcome them back as long as the feminine can see the fruits of their labor. As long as the feminine can see that they are not about the ego, that they've come out of that ego a little bit and are willing to be a little bit vulnerable and put all that masquerade behind and those different faces and personalities that they've been carrying around to hide from themselves and all of that. I think the feminine will if they see that there's authenticity and sincerity. So let's see kind of what the final outcome may be for this, what to expect. Okay, toxicity in the reverse. They're rejecting anything that's not truth. You're both rejecting anything that's not truth. You're both rejecting anything that does not bring abundance and breed abundance. Four of Wands and the Empress. And the Three of Coins. So Four of Wands and the Empress means union. Union. Feminine and masculine come into union. Make plans for the future. King of Cups spills it. That's the masculine spilling the feelings. Moving forward, there's a lot of passion. There's been a lot of faith happening. I think that there's going to be conversation talking about a spiritual awakening, stepping into a spiritual path, a practice, perhaps. I think that, from now until the time that this happens, I think that there's going to be a lot of things coming into the feminine and masculine's lives, because they're going to be mirroring, that are going to have a lot to do with spiritual awakening, a spiritual path, a spiritual practice. And you're going to find out at the end that you've both been doing kind of the same thing, right? I think there's going to be a lot of telepathic communication. There's going to be a lot of the universe throwing things in your path that have to do with your twin and have to do with leveling up spiritually. So you're kind of preparing for like an event. The universe is preparing you both for an event, and that event is union. In order to come in a union, you have to be, you kind of have to be on the same page, right? You have to have laid some things down. You have to vibrate at the same level. You have to be willing to be vulnerable. So I think you're kind of, as you would prepare for a big sports event or whatever, the universe is preparing the both of you for union. So there's going to be a lot of conversations with your counterpart. Lots of things happening in the 3D to validate this 5D connection. So masculine's leveling up. Hooray. Let's see what the masculine may want to say to the feminine. So this is a good one. Spirit's really coming through very clear, and has been for about a week now, about things that are lacking, things that need to be worked out, cabinets that need to be cleaned out, etc. Regarding the feminine and the masculine journey together. Also, the universe has been coming through very clearly about not holding grudges, about laying resentments down, about stopping comparing the past to the present, and not allowing that to prevent you from coming into union. They've been very adamant about it. So adamant that, you wish they'd be quiet for a minute or two. But anytime a twin tries to turn their back on the connection, the shit just amplifies. And you can run, but you can't hide. Because even though in your mind, you think you're running from them, well, I'm going to get away from them. You're running from yourself, and you can't run and you can't hide from yourself. I mean, you can try, but eventually that just doesn't work anymore, right? So, universe is saying leave things in the past, don't bring the resentment into the present. And the proof's in the pudding. The universe is saying the proof's in the pudding. If the masculine does not appear to have advanced, does not appear to have leveled up in some way, is not being sincere and authentic, if they are not taking masks off, what do you have to lose? Same old song and dance, right? So it's not, it has to, the fear of coming into union with them has to cease. Because you're going to know. You are going to know if the, authenticity is there. You're going to know. What does the masculine want to say to the feminine universe? And what happens if that happens? Well, we deal with it. We go back to our 12-step twin flame program. We go back to our spirituality. We go back to putting the focus on ourselves. But I have a feeling that's not what's happening. You're being prepared for an event. So listen to Spirit. Our love was too intense for me to handle. I needed to break away. Well, yes. I mean, how many times have we heard that, feminines? I mean, you know, I'm not a feminine. I'm the other one, right? But I run like a son of a bitch. And I'm just saying, this is authentic. This is true. Our love was too intense because it is very intense. And you feel like they can see right through you to the places where you don't show anybody that stuff. So it can be very uncomfortable to be vulnerable. Our love was too intense for me to handle. I needed to break away. I'm confused about what I should do about my feelings for you. That's about understanding the connection. No matter how many karmics there are going to be, no matter how many relationships there are going to be, you still circle back to each other. And so at a point when it starts to become a pattern, that you circle back to each other time and time again. And there's acceleration spiritually and lessons after that cycle comes back around again. Then you have to stop and, you know, kind of do your research and think about what is this connection. Now, I'm not talking about karmics cycling back with them again and it being the same old shit. You know, if you're cycling back with a karmic, because you're not closing a cycle down or you're not putting a boundary down or you're not looking at your own self-worth and you allow them back knowing that it's going to bring destruction. Again, if the cycle is destruction continually, then there's your sign that that's a karmic. But if you have building and growth and acceleration when you're coming back around to cycling back with your twin flame again, there's your difference. Okay, I'm sorry for judging you and hurting your feelings because I was afraid of my own damn self. Okay? Afraid of my own damn self. All right? So let's get some love cards on it and I'll call it a wrap because we've been here for like 100 years. Spirit had a lot to say tonight about the masculine, so here I am. And I will be getting these January videos out tomorrow. Power. Look inside yourself. You instinctively know what's right for you. And you have the power to say no or to walk away at any time because guess what? We have free will. So if you're afraid of going back in again and seeing that cycle happening again, you're going to be able to tell whether there's authenticity to that or not. You have the power to walk away or say no at any time. If there's not growth, acceleration behind the new cycle with the twin, then do your research. Look inside yourself, examine what's causing you to feel this way, okay? Do I not want to be vulnerable at this time? Am I running away from myself? Am I running away from having to be bare in front of someone? What is it? What is it that is causing me to feel this way? So you take the fear, you break it down, you analyze it, and you figure out why you have the fear, and then you handle it. Close your eyes and tell yourself that you deserve to feel joyful. You can allow joy. You can allow joy into your life just as you can allow negativity into your life. You can allow joy into your life regardless of the circumstances, okay, that you currently find yourself in. So anyway, that's what Spirit wanted to say to y'all tonight. So I hope you guys had a very Merry Christmas, and I'll see you soon for January readings.